Now, if you're considering getting yourself a Cane Corso, or maybe you've just got one, there are going to be some things about training your Cane Corso that probably seem pretty obvious. But in today's video, I'm going to use all of my experience to talk about a few things that you may not have considered when it comes to training your Cane Corso that you absolutely must incorporate if you want to have the dream canine companion you've always wanted. So if you want to achieve huge amounts of success in training your dog, then my first tip is that you absolutely must crate train your dog. Now, some people have this crazy idea that crate training is cruel, and if it's done right, it couldn't be further from the truth. Your dog should love their crate. It should be their safe, den-like environment where they can take themselves away from the stress of living in our culture and society and have a quiet place to decompress. On top of that, we can then also use that to our advantage, because a dog that's happily in its crate isn't having toilet accidents all over your home. It isn't chewing and destroying your furniture and hard-earned possessions. It isn't lunging and jumping all over your children and guests. You can control their environment, and if you can control their environment, you can set your dog up for success rather than just chucking them into their new home and expecting them to somehow understand how we want them to behave. Set your dog up for success, and one of the best ways you can do that is by crate training your dog. So my second tip, and this one is incredibly important, especially if we want to avoid a whole host of negative behaviours, and that is that you must train your dog to walk on a loose lead. And you must therefore then, every time you go out for a walk, have your dog following your loving leadership on a loose lead. That massively prevents things like reactivity, aggression towards other dogs, or aggression towards people, bikes, buses, you name it. If your dog is by your side looking up to your loving leadership and following your guidance and direction, that is a calmer, more content dog. If the dog is out in front making their own decisions, that's an anxious, fearful, potentially very stressed dog that 99 times out of 100 is going to make bad decisions, that is going to end up in somebody getting hurt. So teach your dog to walk beautifully on a loose lead, and the act of going for a walk will be incredibly pleasant. But not just that, it also then has huge widespread ramifications of helping your dog understand that you are their loving leader and that they must follow your guidance and direction no matter what's going on around them. Because if you can achieve that out in the real world on a walk, you can absolutely have your dog follow your guidance and direction when back at home. Those widespread knock-on impacts of a loose lead heel walk are probably the most important thing that you can do with your dog, and not doing it is one of the single most common reasons why I see so many people have such badly behaved dogs. Now, the next tip is around a place command. A place command is so incredibly useful, and it's one of those things that might not feel like you use it often, but I guarantee you will use it every single day when you've got it as a tool in your arsenal. If your dog is doing something in the home that they shouldn't be, simple, send them to their place. If you have guests coming over and your dog sometimes gets too excited, simple, you can send them to their place. If you have a dog that's reactive at the window when people are walking by, it's simple, you can send them to their place. And then once you can start to send your dog to the place and then start to work on extended stay on their place, again, that is another area that has huge widespread ramifications for insisting that they must look up to you for loving leadership. Now, is it as easy as I just made it sound? No, of course it isn't. A lot of these things take time, but if you put in the hard work, commitment and dedication, you absolutely will be able to get there. And again, I have tons of videos over on my main training channel that shows you the exact process of me doing these exact things so that you can follow along at home and have the dream canine companion that you've always wanted. Guys, I hope you enjoyed that video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe if you're new here. We make multiple videos like this every single week, and I can't wait to see you here on the next episode.